11 points on the Nifty, and things are pretty quiet. The Bank Nifty, though, is, I think, making a bit of a comeback. It's almost at the day's high. 30,245 was the high. So about 40 points or 30 points off the high point. But it's a bit of a spike that you can see, which materialized. Let's focus on a couple of individual stocks now, and this is a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Sources tell us that Singtel and Airtel are set to jointly make a combined offer to acquire Dish TV. Nimish is picking up these details. He's joining in with this. Nimish.
Thanks, Prashant. So, that's what I've heard from investment banking sources, that both Singtel and Airtel combined are looking to buy out Dish TV. So basically, it will be a buyout of the promoter stake of 60% and followed by open offer as well. So, as far as what I understand, the contours of the deal is that the size seems to be around 6,150 crores, which works out to a valuation of close to 55 rupees per share for the Dish promoters. Now, given that even the entire promoter stake will be bought, there will be open offer as well for minority shareholders. If you look at Singtel's exposure in Singapore, they are one of the largest players in Singapore with a 81% market share in fixed line, close to 47% market share in mobile market, and close to 45% market share in broadband. I was talking to some of the investment bankers, and the feedback that I got was maybe this whole process will be largely driven by Singtel and not Bharti Airtel at this point in time. Once this is done, they can, over a period of time, look to have a big portfolio of broadband companies in India with regards to Dish TV, with regards to Bharti DTH, and the fact that GIC, which is a promoter of Singtel, they own 20% stake in Tata Sky. So there could be a possible merger of all the three companies going forward. That probably is a key rationale why Singtel is looking to look at buying this promoter stake in Dish TV. The sense I'm getting is this is in the advanced stages, and maybe in the next couple of weeks you'll hear probably this deal. So that's the latest that I've heard from. As far as official comments are concerned, Bharti said they cannot comment on market speculation, whereas both Singtel and Dish TV has not responded to CNBC-TV18 inquiry.
All right, Nimesh, thanks very much for bringing us that news. Also, Wipro is the other stock that's been in focus since early trade. There was a large trade rather that took place today, and sources say that the government has sold some enemy shares. So what are these enemy shares, and why has the government sold them? Rima is here with the lowdown. Rima.
Thanks so much for that. Yes, we saw a large trade of more than 4 crore shares which took place in Wipro in the morning, and we understand that those are enemy shares which have been sold by the government. Now, enemy shares refers to those shares who've left India and have migrated to countries like Pakistan and China and have taken citizenship of those countries, so they're no longer citizens of India. And the cabinet in November of 2018 had given the go-ahead to DPAM to sell the shares, these enemy shares as they're called, in such companies. Now, the government holds shares in more than 900 companies, mostly unlisted, but the notable listed ones in which the government holds these enemy shares are Wipro and Cipla, and we've seen that one large trade take place in Wipro today. These shares are held by the Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA, and they fall under the custodian of enemy property. So the seller is the government. The buyer is also government entities. So we understand it's LIC, GIC, New India Assurance, so largely government mutual funds as well as government insurance companies who've been a buyer in Wipro today. Back to you.
Okay, Rima, thank you very much for that. So that is essentially Wipro in focus at this point in time. Let me just take a quick look at your 3-point change. As I was pointing out, the Nifty Bank is where there has been some buying, which seems to be coming in. The RBI cut the policy rate by 25 basis points to 6%, the repo rate that is. It's also maintained a neutral stance. There were expectations that this could be changed to more accommodative stance. We spoke to a whole host of experts in terms of reaction to the policy. Here are a few of them. Listen in. We take a break and see you on the other side.
I think 25 basis points is on expected lines. So I think that's appropriate at the time.
I think there's a little bit of a breather the RBI has effectively taken, in part because I think they're not very clear in terms of how there is so much money in cash in circulation. And I think the other element really is that you have the elections coming up. You will actually have a new government come in, and to the extent in the build-up to the elections, there has been a tendency to talk about fiscally stimulating the economy through different forms. So to that extent, I think there is a little bit of caution that is coming through as far as this policy is concerned. And I think they're going to try and keep the liquidity aspect of it more tactical than necessarily something that they go out and commit in the policy itself.
This is a far more balanced policy. I think the step taken is absolutely right. Yes, a rate cut can be justified given that inflation has been soft and there are questions about growth. But also, beyond just this rate cut, there are lots of uncertainties to worry about. The fiscal situation is not good, and I'm glad the MPC statement talks about having to watch that carefully. In the past, combinations of fiscal slippages and monetary easing has not left us in a good spot. It makes us vulnerable. So I'm glad that's being kept a good close watch on.
Okay, and here's a spot of good news for Tata Motors. It looks like the JLR sales in the UK have seen a bit of a rise. So on a Y-on-Y basis, it's a 6% rise at about 24,800 odd units. So that looks good. I wonder if more people are buying JLR cars to escape Brexit.
Speed away, is it?
Speed away.
Okay, that's a good one. 1.25% higher on Tata Motors. But yeah, I mean, it's now, I can't say firmly trading above 200. I don't know how firm it is, but for now it is above 200 and it's actually gaining a little bit more.
Spiking up, yeah.
Yeah, it's spiking up a bit more. We'll take a very quick break here. We come back and, of course, turn our attention fully to the upcoming elections, which are a week away. And we'll get you a couple of ground reports, interview with some candidates, all of that in just a bit.